Hey, everybody. If you're in the retail car business and you're on social media and you're on LinkedIn, there is a good chance that you have seen at some point in time a post from Mr. Tom Gilbert. Tom is the very successful general manager of Lexus of Kendall. And Tom's also a friend. I met Tom years ago when he was running the Dela Auto Group platform up in Plattsburgh. And I can tell you that some of the best business trips of my life were flying up to New York State and driving up to Plattsburgh through the beautiful mountains to spend time with Tom and his team, and invariably eating some delicious hot dogs at the place that was right down the street from his store. Tom recently posted on LinkedIn, as he often does, a post that turned out to be an article because it was very long. This is the printout of it right here. And it was great. I thought it was fantastic. And I know that anybody who's been in and around the retail automotive business for a long period of time would relate to this. Now, Tom says here, 35 years in the car business. That sentence alone carries a lot. A lot has happened. A lot has changed. But if you really think about it, a lot is still exactly the same. I believe in this so much. Tom, has been in the retail side of the business for 35 years. I've been in the, retail automotive advertising, marketing, and dealership world for 20, coming up on 29, so almost 30 years. And this whole post, which I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to give you some clips. It's so spot on. And the gist is this. Over the last 30 to 35 years, those of us that have been in and around the retail car business have watched the business change from the perspective of we moved from the sort of traditional dealership that used to advertise on radio and TV and newspaper and direct mail into multi-million dollar businesses and platforms, multi-billion dollars at this point in time as well too. Platforms that are data-driven, driven by digital marketing, and so much has changed about the business in terms of how we market the business with our websites and with our digital campaigns. I don't need to go through all the specifics there, but you guys know, and you men and women know. I'm trying to eliminate the use of you guys. Anyway, the point that he's making here is he's looking back over the years and what has changed, and certainly technology has driven so much change in the business, and he's looking back wistfully, as I do too at times, to periods of 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when the business was different in the sense that it wasn't touched so much by all of the digital. It wasn't touched so much by all of the analytics. And in nowhere is he saying that any of that stuff is bad, nor am I. That's the world that we live in, and those are the tools that we use. However, it seemed to me that there was a greater sense of fun and excitement in the car business. And he uses the example of, the big weekend tent sale that so many of us have participated in, where a dealership, packs up all their inventory, transfers it all to some lot, either at a mall or in the field in the middle of nowhere, sets up tents, sets up all the excitement, the music, and what have you. And the experience alone of creating that sort of destination sales event and all the things that went along with it is the essence of what he's trying to share, which is there was a sense of excitement. There was a sense of we're doing something very special and unique. The characters that come into play at these events. And, I know Tom has many of these events and he discusses them in detail here. Myself, I can't tell you how many slasher events I have been to and worked. I've been dressed up as Darth Vader going out in the back of a truck with a lightsaber, slashing prices. I have worked the Midnight Madness tent sales where you're doing F&I paperwork in a tent at 2 a.m, right? I've experienced it from being on the advertising agency side. I've experienced it from being on the dealership side. And the things that Tom is touching on, he's referencing these experiences, the excitement, the fun, the uniqueness, the character, but he's also talking about the results, right? The results of these events was often that you sold a shit ton of cars in a particular weekend for no special reason other than you created a special event to do it. It wasn't that the pricing was so much better. It wasn't that the financing was so much better. Nothing was really that different. You had cars that were priced. You had finance and lease packages. But what made these events oftentimes so successful was that you created an exciting event that people felt compelled to come to. And what Tom is referencing in his article is that, have we in some way forgotten that? Have we forgotten that this is a business of excitement, that this is a business that we can make a big splash? Or have we just gotten a little bit too focused on the day-to-day and the analytics and the digital tools that we all use that are important, but have we gotten so focused on those items and those digital tools, have we gotten so focused on that we've lost the drive to do these types of events? And so what he's saying is, technically, we've had all this change, but in some ways, nothing's changed at all. And what hasn't changed is that we are still selling a really exciting product. We are still doing that with people. And, I think we all agree the people in the car business are fantastic. They're just characters. It's one of the things I love most about the retail automotive industry is the people, right? It's just one character after the next. These are robust people who have worked hard to achieve something in their life, who maybe wouldn't have had another pathway to that type of success. So we have an industry filled with people who are big characters, big personalities, very driven for success in a world where we get to engage frontline with the customers. Are we making it fun enough? Is your dealership exciting to go into, right? Like, I think that's what Tom is hinting at here, that all of these things that seem old school that we did years ago, all of the core fundamentals can still be there in your store today. I don't think he's suggesting that you have to go out and do a $5 used car sale, but are you bringing that level of enthusiasm and excitement into the dealership, right? Is it fun? Is it fun to come in your dealership? Does your team enjoy coming to the store to work, or is it just sort of a mundane grind? Is there a vibe in your store? I think all of us who have been around this business for a long time, when you walk into a dealership that's selling a lot of cars. You just feel it. You walk in, you can feel it in most stores. There's a vibe. The music's on. All these things like, popcorn or food or coffee, the things that make the experience special for people, those things are paid attention to. And you can feel that when you go into a store that's rocking and rolling. Just like you can not feel it when you go into a dead store. You walk around and you go, my God, it feels like a morgue in this place. So I wanted to share these thoughts because and I said this to Tom, and I'll hopefully have the chance to say it to him on a podcast here at some point in time, that, because he's been a guest before, that he nailed it. The car business was always about fun, about excitement, about these larger-than-life characters, right, that carried through into the marketing and branding and advertising of the dealership. People knew who the dealers were in town. And the experience of buying a car was fun. Is it still fun? Maybe not as much. Can it be? Absolutely. Just because we're now using AI tools to help assist with, communications and lead follow-up and lead setting. Just because we're using digital retailing tools and digital marketing strategies doesn't mean that the experience in and of itself at the store has to change. And the experience at the store hopefully is something that can still be exciting and fun for people in this day and age and for many years to come. So Tom, thanks for sharing this post. It was fantastic. I couldn't agree more.